She is? Okay. Here, let me let her get her seat.
Canadian hospitality. I like your food. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Senator Jennifer McClellan, Chair of the Virginia Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial Commission, and I want to welcome you to this wet but exciting day that we have been working towards for a very long time. Before we get started, I would like to acknowledge some of the people who have played an instrumental role in making today happen. First, if any members of the King Commission or any of its work groups are here, if you could please stand and wave your hands. If we have members of the General Assembly who, through the Appropriations Act of 2012, authorized this monument, would you please stand? If you are on Richmond City Council, obviously our mayor is already standing. We will hear from him shortly. If you would please stand. Venture Richmond, who manages the property here, has representatives here probably running around, but I wanted to definitely acknowledge them. And last but not least, our donors. There are a couple who helped get us over the finish line. From the Open Society Foundation, Tom Perriello. From Dominion Energy, Pauline Cheatham. From West Rock Foundation, Pete Durrett. From Altria, John Rainey. From Bank of America, Victor Branch. And from Verizon, Tom Walls. And with that, we will begin our program with a libation ceremony from the Alegba Folklore Society.
est vrai que la vie ressemble au caméléon dans ce changement perpétuel des couleurs, l'homme d'aujourd'hui doit apprendre à s'aimer la beauté, l'amour, la compassion, la fraternité en cœur battant comme un pèlerin. Adara minine, Sunjata adara minine, adara minine, utara minine,
Kurt Patterson is activating the drum, the foundation of everything. Sheikh Hamala Jabate of Mali, West Africa, a descendant of 800 generations of jellies or jollies, or during the process of colonization, as the French renamed them, griots. The song that he sings is passed down from the generations. The song suggests and invites us to be present, to breathe, to open your spirit, to be in oneness with eternity, past, present, future. These honored today may not have thought that we would be calling their names decades and centuries later. One day, someone may call yours.
adara minine, iye adara minine, adara minine, Sunjata adara minine, Thank you.
In the Yoruba language, Omi tutu, cool water, Ona tutu, cool road, Ile tutu, cool earth. Tutu la roye, tutu la roye, tutu la roye. The path of a shoe that is transformation. Tutu Egun, Egun the keeper of the ancestors. Kosi, 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 Ku. Kosi si Arun, Kosi si Ejo, Kosi si Ofo, Kosi si Idina, Kosi si Bitubu. Mojuba Afafe Iku, as we bring down the presence of the ancestors in this space. Mojuba Afafe Iku, Mojubobo Iku, Mojuba Afafe Iku. We pay homage to our ancestors, those who are fortunate to be buried in the soils of Africa, the cradle of civilization. Our first mothers and fathers walking in attuned God light as co-creators of civilization, caretakers of the earth, and establishers of order. If you agree, we say Ashe,
Ashe.
and so it is. We pay homage to those who were the architects, Ashe, the scientists, Ashe, the educators, Ashe, the agriculturalists, Ashe, the mathematicians, Ashe, the community builders, Ashe, the spiritual leaders, Ashe, the warriors, Ashe. We thank you and pay homage to those who were the natural caretakers of the earth's most precious minerals, Ashe. We thank our ancestral navigators who embarked from the motherland to be the first to journey across the Atlantic, to bring God-attuned culture that helped shape our world. Ibae, Initunu. Ibae, Initonu. I greet you, you who have disappeared. If you agree, we say Ashe. We pay homage to our ancestors who were captured from their villages and homes and who were forced across the Atlantic through the Middle Passage. Objectified as cargo, crowded together, lying on their backs, stacked on pallets, often with their heads between the legs of others. In feces, urine, blood, and incredible indignities. Ashe, Ibaye, Initonu. We thank you who were shackled, ankle to ankle, wrist to wrist. You who were thrown overboard. You who jumped, knowing in spirit the water brought me, and the water will take me home. Ashe. We thank you whose fortitude defended your survival even still to beget us, your children. Ibaye, Initunu. I greet you, you who have disappeared. We thank our ancestors whose bones rest in the earth in the Americas. We thank you who face the daily challenges of making sense out of a life of horrific, heinous enslavement, where enslavers prop themselves up on our backs in false notions of superiority that laid the basis for the systemic disparities we know today. Ashe. We honor you, whose physical and intellectual prowess, whose courageous being created the universal foundation for our material world, perhaps unrequited until now. Ashe. Mary Elizabeth Bowser, Ibaye Initonu. Henry Box Brown, Ibaye Initonu. Anthony Burns, Ibaye Initonu. William Harvey Carney, Ibaye Initonu. John Dabney, Ibaye Initonu. Gabriel, Ibaye Initonu. James Lafayette, Ibaye Initonu. Dred Scott, Ibaye Initonu. Nat Turner, Ibaye Anetonu. Ibaye Initonu. I greet you, who have disappeared. Ashe. In legacy, we pay homage to you, who shined brightly your light even so in the face of the black codes, the barbarity of the lynch mob, the storm of Jim Crow, and the resurgent hate-filled, mindless violence of the police. Reverend John Jasper, Ibaye Initonu. Lucy Good Brooks, Ibaye Initonu. John Mercer Langston, Ibaye Initonu. James Wesley Douglas Bland, Ibaye Initonu. Peter Jacob Carter, Ibaye Initonu. Jenny Sarepta Dean, Ibaye Initonu. Rosa Dixon Bowser, Ibaye Initonu. Lucy F. Sims, Ibaye Initonu. John Andrew Bowler, Ibaye Initonu. John Mitchell Jr., Ibaye Initonu. Charles Spurgeon Johnson, Ibaye Initonu. Dorothy Irene Heights, Ibaye Initonu. James Farmer, Ibaye Initonu. Evelyn Thomas Butts, Ibaye Initonu. Reverend Dr. Curtis Royce Harris, Ibaye Initonu. Gregory Hayes Swanson, Ibaye Initonu. Reverend Wyatt T. Walker, Ibaye Initonu. Dr. Virgie M. Benford, Ibaye Initonu. Mildred Loving, Ibaye Initonu. Andrew I. Heidelberg, Ibaye Initonu. Ibaye Initonu. I greet you, you who have disappeared. If you agree, we say Ashe.
Ashe.
And for our elder, James Edward Maceo West, at whose feet we are blessed to sit to absorb your wisdom, we thank you. Ashe. We thank you, who in spite of and because of accomplished, you who even so excelled, Ashe, created, Ashe, influenced, Ashe, improved, Ashe, and loved, Ashe, you who hoist us now. For we are the spirit of your spirit. We are the flesh of your flesh. We are the bones of your bones. Ashe, we thank you for your presence in this moment. Ashe, we ask that the ear of spirit within us is in tuned to hear truth. Ashe, we ask for your continued guidance. Ashe, we ask for your continued blessings. Ashe, 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 oh. And so it is.
Atara menine, aye tara menine. Atara menine, sujata atara menine. Atara menine, ela sokar tara menine. Atara menine, tara menine.
Join me real quickly, my brothers and sisters, for a word of prayer. Dear God, we ask that you join us today as we celebrate, as we recognize, as we remember the legacy of those who have contributed to the fight against slavery and the fight for equality. And we know that your presence has been with us for generations upon generations. Today, as we join the Martin Luther King Jr. Commission, we join as leaders, the chair and the vice chair. We come together as a community and we thank you for these awesome leaders that we have set apart to celebrate today. But not just them, those who have for centuries upon centuries offered up themselves to fight for justice, to fight for mercy. We thank you, God, for this day, and we ask that you continue to lead us in the footsteps of those who have been such a blessing, have been so courageous, and have been the awesome leaders that you have called them to be. This is our prayer in your name. Amen.
Well, good morning, everyone. Good morning. I can't hear you. Good morning, everyone. I want to begin by thanking my friend, Pastor Nelson, for those inspirational words. And greetings to all those who've gathered here today for this very special occasion right here in the great city of Richmond. That's a round of applause. I don't know y'all talking, but folks, this morning I have a good feeling. And that feeling is that the monument that we will unveil today will withstand the test of time. So, this monument right here joins the recent works of arts here in the city of Richmond. Maggie L. Walker in 2017, Rumors of War in 2019, and now in 2021, the dedication of the Emancipation and Freedom Monument. Richmond and Virginia have come a long way. And while there is still much work left to do, we are moving in the right direction. We're moving forward to a more inclusive and more equitable future. And we do so not just by erecting powerful symbols of bronze and granite, but by taking concrete steps in our Commonwealth and in our city to reform the laws and the systems that institutionalized the racism and oppression that dimmed the American dream and bound people of color for generations and generations. Yes, this monument stands on its own, but it does not stand alone. It sends a powerful message to the rest of the world about our values, new Virginia values, values that have been informed by the pain and by the suffering and righteous struggle of the people represented on this fine work of art today. People like Reverend Wyatt T. Walker and John Mitchell Jr. of Richmond, and the many unheralded heroes and sheroes of the past, those that we stand on the shoulders of. It honors them by telling their story, by letting everyone know that their lives and the lives of those whom they fought and sacrificed matter. And I would argue we pay them the ultimate respect by putting that into practice each and every day, by being about the change that we know leads to a more just and equitable and loving world. When we can accomplish that goal for all who live in this great city or in this great commonwealth or in this great country, then we will be truly emancipated and truly be free. And what better place than Richmond, Virginia, to continue that great work, to fulfill the greatest promise of America, and to overcome the greatest failing. We are one of the birthplaces of this country and of our nation's original sin of slavery. The hands of the enslaved built this city. We were once the capital of the Confederacy and the capital of the lost cause. But no longer is that Richmond. Together we are building a capital of compassion, a capital of opportunity, a capital of hope. The enslaved built this city with their hands. We will rebuild this city with our hearts. This city is the right place, and this is the right time for this powerful statement. And it is my hope that monuments like this, as well as the work to come in Shockoe Bottom and on Monument Avenue, become important markers on our road to reconciliation, to atonement, and to ultimately healing. So, to the governor, Senator McClellan, our honorable state and local leaders and distinguished members of the Virginia Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial Commission, and artist Thomas J. Warren, thank you for all your work in bringing this important moment and this important monument to our city here today. We are proud, we are honored for you to give it a home right here in the greatest city on earth, the great city of Richmond. Thank y'all so much.
Nothing I love more than liquid sunshine. And we're getting a plenty of it this morning. Good afternoon. I bring greetings, and I honor those who are present today, to certainly honor the leadership of Senator Jennifer McClellan, who continued the mile-long stretch to make this day become a reality. What was started 10 years ago, certainly by Senator Marsh as the chairperson at that time of the MLK Commission, has proven that perseverance pays off. It's resulted in a great payoff, matter of fact, and that's why we're here today. I'm excited to be here for the unveiling of the Emancipation and Freedom Monument. And I'm certainly that those of you who are present today are as excited as I am. Senator McClellan has stated, and indeed we owe her and others countless number of individuals in debt of gratitude for being instrumental in helping this project again come to fruition. Thank you to the governor, Mayor Stoney, City of Richmond, the MLK Commission, King Jr. Commission, elected officials, and other guests who have come to celebrate this momentous occasion. As we gather here on Browns Island, I cannot help but to think of that quote, "I am my ancestors' dream and my oppressor's greatest nightmare." We are here today to commemorate their honor and the many individuals who dedicated or even sacrificed their lives for the freedom of future generations. It is because of them that we stand here today. For too long, our history has not told their story. Today, we are pausing for a moment as we honor their life and legacy by telling the truth. Certainly overshadowed by monuments of the Confederacy, both literally and figuratively speaking. It is time for their stories to be told, again with truth and with honor. On the pages of their story, the words will be explored and exploded. A life of determination of those who fought for freedom, had a yearning for equity and justice, equality, not just for themselves, but for generations that was yet to come. Virginia has certainly set the precedent for practices and policies since its inception. From the formation of the Democratic Republic, being the first colony where the first documented Africans came to this strange land, where they would be for centuries held in captivity and bound by unimaginable and that peculiar institution as they were chattel slaves. Today, event is a reflective of the many truths that are to be told, but it's also a reminder of the tragedy and of this unyielding system that they lived under, but also the triumph of a people. In many ways, we are turning the pages As we mark a few pages, we honor those whose actions and resistance led them to the front line of a fight for equal rights for all. They remind us that the price of freedom is a costly sacrifice, and its cost could often result in the ultimate price. Yes, even blood, sweat, and tears. But the valor of individuals such as Nat Turner, who led the largest slave rebellion, Gabriel, who was executed only a few miles from where we are standing today, and Mary Jane Bowser, a self-educated slave who served as a spy during the Civil War, helped to produce the emancipation of slaves. With every accomplishment came some barriers, and over centuries, African Americans would demand and continue to fight for equality, from procuring economic stability, quality education, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness as granted to all citizens by the Constitution. But the leaders of the civil rights movement made certain that they will continue the fight, such as Reverend Wyatt T. Walker, who would be a catalyst for change. The fight for freedom has been anything but easy, yet through it all, African Americans have remained resilient in the face of oppression. Since 2012, the Virginia Martin Luther King Jr. Commission has worked tirelessly to commemorate the Emancipation Proclamation and the abolition of slavery in the United States. But here we are today for this very important, and you're a part of it, historic moment. We did not dedicating years for a bronze statue going up, but we are here today to make sure that systemic ideologies come down. I would like to thank all of you again in the General Assembly for being a part of this, and all of the donors and the many stakeholders. We would not have been able to accomplish it without you. I encourage all of you to encourage young people everywhere to take the time to come here to this site, to this place, to learn by these iconic leaders and the story of those who fought to ensure that we will have freedom for generations even yet to come. God bless you and thank you.
As this day has arrived, there are many voices who cannot be heard. Two of them, COVID and illness, have kept from this ceremony, but without them, we would not be here. And that is Senator Henry Marsh, who was chair of the commission when this project began, and our artist, Thomas J. Warren. They have sent remarks, very brief, which they're in the program, but for those who are watching the live stream, I will read very briefly. I am pleased to commend and congratulate the Commission for selecting such a beautiful and impactful commemoration of the Emancipation Proclamation and abolition of slavery. The selection of Thomas J. Warren as the artist was excellent, and the artwork he has created fulfills the hope of the Commission that these statues would exemplify the strength of those that fought against slavery and for equality. The final product will help future generations to understand the struggles and hopes of these inspiring Virginians. Senator Henry L. Marsh III. I've spent my 36-year career creating public bronze monuments. I feel this monument is my swan song. I pray the public will see to the heart of the piece, feel the intent to present a work with which every African American can identify, and find a place that every person can visit in peace for reflection and to teach their children. I hope you can look on these figures and feel their nobility, their pain, their hope. Look into the faces of these 10 Virginians, feel pride, be inspired to keep moving forward for equality, peaceful and undeterred. Many thanks to the Virginia Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial Commission for entrusting me with the creation of this monument. My special thanks to Drew Harrigan of Four Wind Designs, Fred Williams of Williams Construction Company, Senator McClellan, Amigo Wade, and Lily Jones. Being given this opportunity is the greatest honor of my professional life. Thomas J. Warren, sculptor. Resilience in the face of horror and pain is what this day is all about, which is why a little rain and a train are not going to stop us. When the Commission took on the task of commemorating the sesquicentennial of the Emancipation Proclamation, we quickly figured out that emancipation was not a moment. It was a movement that began when this country began. And Virginia was the center of the struggle. Virginia, the birthplace of American democracy, was also the birthplace of the American slave trade. Virginia, with its leaders who wrote the founding documents that promised life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness for all, and a government by, of, and for the people. And yet those very men owned people that they considered 3/5 human. From the beginning, there were acts of resistance, rebellion, and self-liberation as a people stolen from their homeland, put in chains, raped, beaten, murdered, pushed on and fought for freedom and equality. Unfortunately, that did not come with the Emancipation Proclamation alone. It took the 13th Amendment to legally end the slave trade. And yet, after a brief moment of social, political, and economic power in the hands of the formerly enslaved, there was a vicious and violent backlash that led to racial terror lynchings, that led to Jim Crow laws, and monuments and propaganda touting a lost cause narrative designed to put the African Americans in Virginia and in this country back in their place. But our place was fighting for freedom and equality. And we pushed on. We pushed on, and for every step forward, there were 2 steps back. But we pushed on and we pushed on. And many, many people whose names are known and unknown were a part of that struggle. 10 are highlighted here on this monument. All of their spirits are here with us today. This has been a labor of love for the Commission and everyone who had anything to do with this monument. And the fact that the rain has stopped and the sun is going to try to peek through proves the resilience of the African American spirit. And we will continue to push on until the words of life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, and equality apply to all. It is now my pleasure to introduce someone who was quite instrumental in helping us get to this day, His Excellency, the Governor of Virginia, Ralph Northam.
Well, good morning. And yes, it is a good morning. We are not going to let a little bit of rain or a train slow down our progress. So, Jennifer McClellan, thank you, Senator McClellan, for your words and also for all of the work and your leadership, not only here in Richmond, but also in this Commonwealth of Virginia. And I want to thank all of you for the work that you've done to really make this day possible and to drive this project forward. It is always great to be here with our mayor, LeVar Stoney, and I want to just touch on some of your comments, Mayor, and that I appreciate all that you've done for this city. This city has been through a lot of history, not all of it obviously good. And so for you to open up this city and make it a city that embraces diversity, a city that is progressive, a city that is innovative, and also a city that is inclusive, I am proud to call Richmond our home. So thank you for your leadership, Mayor Stoney. Delegate McQuinn, and there are other members of the legislature, thank you for your powerful words and your leadership over the years. You have been unrelenting. And to Reverend Nelson, thank you for your words of prayer this morning. I want to also thank the members of the Martin Luther King Jr. Commission. A lot of them are here today who have worked on this project, carrying it through from just an idea that was said to the 12-foot-tall figures that we are celebrating today. It is an honor to be with you all today to unveil this powerful, powerful new monument. You know, we talk often about the need to make sure that we tell and teach the full and true story of our shared history, how we must ensure that everyone understands where we have been so we can build a more inclusive future together. By necessity, that often includes focusing on the horrors of slavery and the terrors of the Jim Crow era. But in this monument, we see a different part of the story. These figures embody the power of emancipation and the power of freedom. So I want to congratulate our sculptor, Thomas J. Warren, on capturing a moment of freedom in the expressions on the faces that you'll get ready to see of this woman and man. And in the infant, we see generations who will grow up with a freedom that its parents did not have. And in the names of these 10 black Virginians, 5 who fought against slavery and 5 who fought for equality, we see people actively engaged in fighting to win and keep that freedom. We see how vital their contributions were and are to making the United States live up to its promises and ensuring, as Senator McClellan said, that life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness are rights enjoyed by all of us, not just some. Last year, we dedicated and declared Juneteenth as a paid state holiday, a holiday to mark the day when 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation was signed, word of it finally reached enslaved people in Texas. It is the only holiday in which we mark emancipation and the end of slavery, yet it was such a huge milestone in the history of this country and the lives of people who were freed. We all know that enslavement, emancipation, and freedom do not truly have single dates attached to them. The end of slavery was not the end of racism or violence or black oppression. Jim Crow terror and redlining and massive resistance and other forms of discrimination followed. The fight for equality and freedom is 402 years long, and I want to underline and emphasize this, and counting. We are all at an important point in America and in Virginia as we reckon with how Virginia's racial history shapes our present day and how we tell that story so that everyone understands it. Here in Virginia, we have worked to tell a more full and comprehensive story of our shared past, one that is more inclusive of all the stories that make up our history. Part of that effort has been to take a hard look at who and what we have put up on pedestals in this Commonwealth and ask if they truly should be there. Our public memorials are symbols of who we are and what we value. Just a couple of weeks ago, one of my proudest days, we took down the statue of a man who led an army to stop the emancipation and freedom these figures symbolize. As we know, that statue honored a lost cause that had burdened Virginia for far, far too many years. Today, these statues, they're symbols too. They're symbols of a Virginia that is reckoning with ugliness and inequality. A Virginia that's taking a deep, hard look into what we need to do better and how to get there. A Virginia that tells the truth of our past so we can build a better future together. These statues are symbols of hope, of freedom, and of the enduring will to fight for that freedom. That is an important part of our shared story as well. I hope that future generations, as Senator McClellan articulated, will look on this memorial and see the struggle and the victory that it embodies. Thank you all so much, and God bless you. Thank you.
We are blessed to share this moment in a time when so much is happening. We don't know whether we will see tomorrow, but thank God we see this day. First, giving honor to God and all of those who are assembled here, to our officials, to all of those who have worked tirelessly to see that this monument comes to this place. We are grateful. And on this first day of autumn, we see a new Virginia, a new America. And for that, we are grateful. I am a Virginian. And for as much as I love Virginia, with all thy faults, I love thee still. We welcome you to this place and to the beginning of a new history. We regret that those who have fought and worked with us are not here. I remember Betsy Barton, who served with us, Dr. Robert Vaughn III, Juanita Owens Wyatt, and my ally and friend, Karen Wood of the Monacan people. She wrote poetry, and there's one poem that really speaks to this moment, Apologies. The time has come for the nation to turn a new page for righting wrongs of the past. We apologize for laws and policies that inflicted profound grief, suffering, and loss, and for the removal of children from families, communities, and country. For the pain of these, their descendants, and for families left behind, to mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, for indignity inflicted on a proud people, we say sorry. We resolve that the injustices of the past must never, never happen again, and look to a future based on mutual respect, where all, whatever their origins, are equal partners. Our histories are entwined. This is a monument that speaks to the horrors of those who lived in slavery and those who fought after slavery for justice and freedom. We hear so much about freedom now, but how many of us still do not have that freedom? We know of so many who live with fear and want. they are not free from that fear and that want. For too long, their human rights have been denied and are still being denied. They are considered marginal. People with disabilities, people of color, women, the poor, the homeless, queer, children, and the illiterate. But those of us who others consider marginal don't think of ourselves as marginal. We too deserve all that America has promised. People who were enslaved were denied their human rights, living in constant fear that their children would be sold away from them, that their families would be torn apart, the fear of being beaten and killed at whim, fear of speaking out about their pain, and their fear that they would not live to see another day. How fortunate we are. And so, as we remember this past, we have to remember that we must move beyond that past to a better day. In addition to having this monument here, we have tools to help our young people and future generations know our history. The recent report that was completed by the commissioners under the governor's report for teaching African American history is now available, not only for teachers, but for all of us. Working with that report and these monuments, teachers, students, children, parents, and visitors have the opportunity to visit this site, learn more not only about who we were, but who we can become. It is up to us. And in this moment, we see a new day, but this is just the beginning. We have to work continuously to make sure that that freedom is afforded to all of us. We have come over a way that with tears have been watered. We have come treading the path through the blood of the slaughtered, out from the gloomy past till now we stand at last where the bright gleam of our bright star is cast. Thank you.
And now the moment we have all been waiting for. I would like to ask, we do have members of the families of some of the Virginians depicted on the monument. If you could come, and members of the commission, stand with us as we unveil the monument.
Let's go, Miss McQueen. Better yet, the Reverend McQueen. All praise is due. Oh yeah. Only do it. Let freedom ring.
when the glory comes, it will be ours. It will be ours. One day, when the war is won, we will be sure. We will be sure. Oh, glory, glory, oh, glory. One day, when the glory comes, it will be ours. It will be ours. Oh, one day, when the war is won, we will be sure. We will be sure. Glory, glory, oh, glory. The war is not over, victory is won, but we'll fight on to the finish. Then it's all done. We'll cry glory, oh, glory, oh, glory, oh, glory. One day, when the glory comes, it will be ours. It will be ours. Oh, glory. Ooh, glory. Hallelujah. Glory.
Could we all possibly stand as we do a rendition of the Black National Anthem?
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the lifting skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. We'll keep marching, fighting till the victory is won. Hold your head up, brothers, till the victory is won. Keep believing, sisters, till the victory is won. Till that day comes, let us march on.
Thank you all for coming.